All right. Well, might as well get this. Might as well get this thing going. Hey, so yeah, welcome everybody. I hope everyone in the U.S. had a good Thanksgiving, and everyone not had a good past week. I was at my folks' place in Texas, visiting with them the whole past week. But I brought my spiffy laptop along, all right, I'm muting the stream audio here. I got some work done along the way on this thing, and as an intro for anybody who didn't see my first stream of this, this is a map viewer. This is a little program that displays the Ultima 4 world map with animated water effects and a cool CRT type shader and stuff. And the reason that I'm doing all of this is because it is kind of an ideal ramp-up exercise for a tool that I would like to make called Playscii, which is a next-generation revision of my ASCII art program that I made about 2.5 years ago called EdSCII. Because I want to make a game with it. I want to make Playscii as a thing that will help me make ASCII art, and then from there turn that into something that I can build a game on top of, with objects moving around and colliding and accepting player control and all that kind of stuff, because I think this could be a pretty unique tool. And the game that I want to make with this pretty much needs this kind of aesthetic and stuff. Like, it's, I don't know, I don't want to get to, like, I'm going to be alluding probably on these streams to the secret game development project that I have going. And I'm keeping it a secret only because it'll be a cooler surprise if and when I get to the point where I can show it off and talk about it. But right now, I'm still pretty early days, and I'm still learning stuff, and I'm building this tool. And so this Ultima 4 map viewer thing is a stepping stone to that. I'm learning about OpenGL and all that kind of stuff. I feel like at this point I've surmounted a lot of the difficult stuff. And I'm just doing stuff that will be groundwork for Playscii. So I think I'll be able to get Playscii up and running pretty quickly once I've got the last few features kind of fleshed out for this thing. And then I'll release this thing so that I can get some practice shipping an application on Windows, Mac, and Linux, things like that. So anyway, progress that I have made since the very first of these streams. Well, one of them is attached to the mouse cursor here. I'm moving the mouse around, and as you can see, it is highlighting. Let me zoom in as far as I can possibly go. And you can see the blurb, the CRT shader doing its weird little thing here when I'm really up close. But yeah, the mouse cursor is being followed by this little selection thing. I was able to do this because I read a cursor object class, and I kind of got the application using a more conventional model view projection matrix transformation system. This is the Python for the cursor class. It does some stuff. It has like a weird manually specified vertex list, I believe. It's not that important, yeah. But yeah, that's right. Yeah, here I'm generating, in order for it to be a hollow box with thickness, this is what the verts look like, and then I build it, and it's got its own vertex array object and all that kind of stuff. And then there's stuff here where I calculate the model matrix based on its position in the world, and then its position in the world is based off of its looking at the mouse coordinates. And before I started making this change, I didn't really have a proper... I had something that was kind of based on an example that I didn't fully understand, and I think I understand it a lot more now. That was kind of one of the last, like, oh yeah, rendering stuff in OpenGL kind of hurdles that I had to cross, is just understanding how a matrix transforms work and all that kind of stuff. And so what I'm doing here to calculate the position is I am deprojecting... I'm opening up the shader here too, so you can see how little work it's doing. I'm taking the mouse coordinates and then deprojecting them, in effect doing the matrix translation, the matrix transformation stuff backwards that normally does to the 3D scene. So, this normally it's all about like taking something that's like in these absolute coordinates like 0, 1, 2, 3, and then and turning that into an OpenGL view that let me show you another cool thing that I'm able to do because of this. And this will definitely in games that you can play with Playscii, I definitely want people to be able to do this. Like, this is something that the game that I will be making with Playscii is that I can tilt the view. Is I can just give it like an alternate Y thing here. Like this camera here, I can still zoom it in and out, and it has an eye. It has an eye that represents the camera, and then it also has a target thing. And I can go down to the ground level like this, which looks kind of cool. And the reason that it interpolates smoothly like this, that this behavior took me by surprise, but it's actually because the eye point is somewhere in the middle of the view, and it's continuing to look at that view even though the camera is like down at ground level. So that's pretty cool, and it gives it kind of a nice like sort of Mode 7, F-Zero or Final Fantasy VI flying over the world kind of thing, and I love it, and I want people to be able to, well, I mean specifically, see, I keep saying people, but really, like, I'm in this for myself partly. This is an open source tool, but I am going to make a game that has something like this perspective, and you'll be able to see multiple layers of ASCII characters in parallax and particle systems like made of ASCII characters going everywhere and stuff like that, and I think that's going to look really neat. One thing that you'll notice is that the cool cursor, like the little highlight cursor thing that I had working a second ago, doesn't work when I tilt the view like this, and I think that's something to do with assumptions I'm making about the Z value of the cursor, of the point that I'm deprojecting from the cursor location. And if I set it back here, then it goes back. Yeah. And this actually has some intelligence about the world. Like, I don't have the debug output turned on right now, but you can. Hold on a second. Yeah, like I can actually crosshair over these things and get information about what tile it is, like its coordinates and the type of tile that it is, because it is actually querying the world data. And this is all very analogous to stuff that I'm doing in that I'm going to be doing in Playscii. The other thing, this hello that's on the screen right now, is the very beginnings of a UI, of a UI layer. Which again, like for just something that make a cool little program that views the Ultima 4 world map, maybe wouldn't have been necessary. But this is actually a really good testbed case for what will be Playscii's UI. It's going to have a UI that displays over this world, and as you can maybe see on the stream, this isn't being affected. The UI text that's drawing here isn't being affected by the CRT shader. It's drawing on top of the frame buffer that I'm rendering the scene to. And the text that's appearing on screen is actually this is actually a decompiled, or whatever you want to call it. Like, I'm using the exact same code that reads the sprite data from the tile map here to read from another bit of Ultima 4's data that's the character set. And the code for this character set here, I wrote the sprite data class in such a nice general way that this is the entirety of the character data class. All it needs to know about is, well, it's a different size texture, and the sprites are 8 by 8 pixels instead of 16 by 16 pixels. And make black a transparent color on this, and I made that a little more general. And then all it needs to do to get the UV coordinates that it needs to map onto these things in the UI is just apply, this little mapping here I've got from an ASCII string really to, this was something that I did for EdSCI where I realized, oh yeah, you could just have a text file that describes exactly where these characters are, and that's going to be pretty implicitly human readable. It gets a little more complicated when you have characters that are in a weird ASCII set, character set like PETSCII that aren't necessarily representable in a text file you can edit in Windows, but most of the time you don't need that for putting text on the screen or something. It's more for a purely graphical ASCII type element. So anyway, this is the Ultima 4 stuff. I realized I could very easily do this, and that it would actually be an ideal way to try out getting a UI text going. And that's rad. This is I wrote a general UI element class here that just really, it's just kind of an OpenGL, like it's most of it is an OpenGL vertex area object that has some different stuff. And then I wrote these specific subclasses of it. Like button and icon and caption. And each of those are kind of different. Like a caption is comprised of multiple quads, each of which has the text on it, and the character is set by the UVs that are set here. And I guess I could, that means that like this specific geometry is generated, on initialization time, and if I wanted it to change dynamically, I'd have to kind of move that around a little bit. But it's all quite doable, and it would just involve updating the vertex buffer object, in a pretty low frequency kind of way that shouldn't be unhappy for the GPU. And then I also made some icons that I'm going to put up on here because Playscii's interface will also have icons, a la kind of Deluxe Paint or what have you. And let's see, did I have that image there? Yeah, no, not that. I had it open in GIMP here. These are just 3 little icons that I made. This is going to be the zoom in, zoom out button. There's going to be a little minus sign and a plus sign next to that for zoom in, zoom out. This is going to be a thing that, and these will have text labels beneath them that are rendered with, again, that Ultima font. Zoom in, zoom out, toggle the CRT shader, and then change the color palette between DOS EGA and Commodore 64 and Apple II, if that's like an easy thing to emulate in a shader, which I think it will be. And just because I think like those palette swaps will have an interesting aesthetic effect, and it's also, surprise, surprise, something that I want to do in Playscii. I want Playscii to support different kinds of color palettes so that you could make something that looks like a ZX Spectrum game or a Commodore 64 game or a DOS game, and just as much as the character set, you want the tile sets. Actually, now that I think of it, let me just jump into this, and just because it's kind of cool. Like, these are the things that whoa, what's going on here? I'm using G-Thumb here, which is like probably just, I don't know, it's probably overkill for these are the different character sets that come with EDSCII, the current version of EDSCII that you can download right now. This is the Atari Atascii character set, and as you can see, it's got some interesting special drawing characters, kind of distinctive 8x8 pixel thing. I'm not going to go through all of these, but so it'll be like character sets like these that you'll be able to toggle between freely and be like, I'm making a piece of art with the Playscii set. I'm making a custom hack of the Playscii set that I can use for specific things. This is, I think, this is the Amstrad CPC, the DOS 9x16 set. Likewise, just I don't know, ZX Spectrum there. So being able to I don't feel like there's really anything here that I'm doing with this Ultima 4 application that does not apply very directly, in some cases to the point of being able to just copy-paste code and then adapt it minimally, and then it's kind of ready to go. I don't think there's anything that I'm really... It may seem like I'm kind of doing some sort of weird gravy features for this Ultima 4 map viewer, and that I'm maybe kind of rat-holing on it. But there's a method to my madness, and I'm actually pretty on task here. I think a lot of this stuff will make it very straightforward for me to get Playscii up and running, and then it'll be the unique things like getting painting going and all that kind of stuff. And I've implemented that once before in the form of EDSCII. So I don't want to promise too much there, but I made some pretty good progress, just kind of like in spare moments at the family's house in Texas. And I'm hoping to make some more progress. One question might be, why am I doing this? As you might have seen on Twitter or around 2 Fridays ago, well, Friday before last, sorry, there's ambulances or sirens or something going by here. It's just like Idle Thumbs. The ambulance goes by. Only I don't have a sweet soundproof studio. Yeah, come on. I guess there's fires or something. I hope nobody's hurt. Anyway, yeah, I was laid off from my job at Double Fine Friday before last, and that sucks. That was completely unexpected, and my heart goes out to the 11 other people that were affected by that. Really talented people, and I wish everyone involved luck, including Double Fine. So yeah, I've been thinking about what I can do and what I want to do. There's probably some studio jobs that might be open to me, but I would really like to make a game by myself. I've been wanting to do that for, going on like 7 years now. And I've built up a lot of experience both in my professional work and in the spare time projects like Edski that I've been doing. And I think I have a way. There's so many question marks and so many things that would need to fall into place, but this plan doesn't feel completely hopeless and unrealistic. I would like to build Playscii as a base that I can build an actual game on. And this is the game project that I'm keeping kind of secret because I want it to be a surprise and etc. But I think actually there's other types of games that I think I could make that but that would require an artist or a more hardcore programmer or just other people involved. And I don't know who I would work with on that. The good collaborators are out there, but I don't have one who's ready to work with me right now. And I want to. So I thought about what kind of game could I make as a solo indie, or as a mainly solo, but with one or two other people helping, maybe for something like music, and maybe some promo art, or just who knows. But I was thinking what is a game that I could make mostly by myself, and I hit upon ASCII as ASCII art, as you can maybe see from some of the Edski art that I've been posting off and on Twitter. ASCII art is actually a type of art that I feel comfortable making. I'm not a super great artist, 2D artist, and my 3D skills have long since atrophied from 10, 15 years ago. Anyway, I think that this is actually the kind of game, the constraints that I've got in front of me right now. I think I could actually make Playscii as a way to make this game that I think would be fairly difficult to make with other tools like Unity or Unreal 4 or any of the existing 2D game frameworks or something like that. And yeah, that's what I want to do. There are still some really big questions over that. The biggest one by far being money. I don't have a ton of money. When I got laid off, I wasn't sweet, I can be indie now. I'm oh yeah, gee, I have some small amount of runway here, but and so yeah, so I think the time that I have, I'm going to see how much I can collect from. I'm going to see what an unemployment check would look like for me, because that might give me enough time to get this game off the ground and ready to show to people who might be willing to fund the rest of its development. And the other thing that I was thinking of is doing a Patreon. Some good friends of mine and stuff, and awesome people making stuff on the internet have had success with Patreon, and I feel a little weird about it because I'm a game developer and I have a lot of experience and connections, but at the end of the day, I don't really have my career has not left me with a lot of money. It hasn't left me with a big nest egg the way that it has, say, Chris Hecker. He talked about that very openly and graciously in a talk that he gave recently. So I kind of want to see, and so normally I would feel kind of weird about saying, about putting out a Patreon for, hey, I just want to make games. But in this case, I would also be making Playscii. And while I would be developing Playscii with the specific goal of being able to make a game that I could then, sell on Steam and itch.io and all that stuff, for money, in the meantime, I need a way to support myself. And because I think Playscii is a tool that would have value, even as I'm just working on it as a means to the end of making this game, I think it would have value to other people, first as an art tool, and then as a potentially like, animation and weird game development tool. So I'm still kind of floating this idea, and I don't know. I'm eager for feedback on it because I want to be very considerate and mindful about the way that I put out the hat. But I think this is what I would like to do, and part of the reason that I decided to start streaming this stuff is because I want to get used to showing people that if I had people who were supporting me, I would want to show them that their patronage is doing something. And I like it's really good for me to talk about these updates and the progress. Like even something silly like getting a UI rendering on screen. Some days it'll be much more spectacular than this, and other days it'll be just the usual programming like nuts and bolts, guts kind of stuff. But I really like putting out art for people, and I really like doing sort of dev streams and video and progress update videos like this, and I think that would have value in addition to just the tool that I would be making through all of this. So I think that's a decent Patreon proposition. But yeah, I would love to hear from people on this because this feels very early days, and there's a ton of work to do before I could get within spitting distance of having a game proof of concept to show to people. But I think that's what I want to do. I am still definitely keeping my options open. I'm talking to people around the industry about studio jobs. But if I did that, then I would probably be relocating more or less immediately, and all of this stuff that I just showed you I'd have to put it on hold and go back to doing this stuff in my spare time. And I kind of don't want to do that just yet if I've got a little bit of time to try this out. So yeah, I think that's just putting it out there. So yeah, I think that's about all I've got for now. I'll hopefully be able to get a lot more done this coming week, and maybe I'll have a video for you sometime soon. But yeah, thank you so much for listening and watching. You can get the code for this on Bitbucket. And if you have any suggestions or advice, I'm still learning some of this stuff as a programmer and all that. But yeah, if you have any advice or guidance, I'd love to hear it. I'm Vector Poem on Twitter, and yeah, you're watching my Twitch channel, and I've got a website and whatever. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and yeah, we'll be in touch. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a good night.